In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, I bear witness there is no God but God, and God is the only one who has the right to be worshipped. I also bear witness that Prophet Muhammad, Prophet Jesus, and Prophet Moses are the messengers of God, and I seek refuge in Allah from the rejected Satan. So in this video, we're going to be discussing about Imam Mahdi the Mashiach and why some religious people, they just don't want Imam Mahdi to come in their time. I just don't really understand this. My first thought of why some scholars and religious speakers don't want to live in that time. I've heard several Islamic speakers say that they don't want to live in the time of Imam Mahdi. Why wouldn't you not want to live in the time of Imam Mahdi? I mean, do you really love this world that much? Do you really want to stay home with the women and children while the real true believers are going to go out and fight for the cause of Allah? I don't understand. Is the corruption in this world hasn't got to you yet? Like, this world is so unjust, it's unbelievable. So I just wrote down a few things that came to mind why we want Imam Mahdi to come. First of all, it's the purpose of creation. Imam Mahdi is going to come and fulfill the laws that Allah has revealed to us, to make what Allah makes lawful, stay away from the unlawful things that Allah forbids. So obviously that's going to create a paradise, that's going to create abundance, that's going to create joy, happiness, closeness with our Creator, purpose, the pleasure of God. Imam Mahdi to be part of the movement of Imam Mahdi, beginning, halfway, and end, is a great pleasure to God, and not to mention the great rewards that you will get. There is a hadith that I've come across that Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, said that one of the companions of Imam Mahdi will have the reward of 50 times the amount of some of the Sahaba, some of the companions of Prophet Muhammad in his time. So, there's a great chance to get immense rewards, even those of the companions of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him. To end the immorality that's going on in this world, to end the slavery, to end the corruption in this world, to establish the Khalifa, the rightly guided leader of the believers, to establish that, to unite the Muslims, unite all the believers, unite the Christians, the Muslims, the Jews, all the believers in all the faiths. Even if you don't have a particular faith, you believe in the one God and one God alone, and you believe in the prophets and messengers that He has sent. You're a believer. To end the poverty, end the starvation. Why wouldn't you want Imam Mahdi to come? I don't understand, people. I don't understand. Do you love this dunya that much? Do you really love it? Do you really want to stay home with the women and children while the true believers are going to fight for the cause of God and the pleasure of God, to do what's right, to live a beautiful life? Or do you want to stay low, stay in the dirt, stay covered in filth with all this filthiness that's going on? I got pulled over today. Guess why? Because I had a visor on my license plate. I got a $100 ticket because I had a piece of plastic, a transparent piece of plastic on my license plate, and supposedly that's against their legislation here. So you need one piece of plastic to drive. That's your driver's license. So one piece of plastic is okay, but the piece of plastic that's on my on top of another piece of metal, that's not okay. And that's it's just, the injustice is just beyond belief. So obviously I'm going to fight this unjust ticket, as I do all my unjust tickets. I recommend everybody fight all their unjust tickets. If you want information how to fight your tickets, listen to some of my videos. In this video I'm going to discuss a little bit how to help you talk to unjust people, period. Doesn't matter where they're from or what they're doing. So I got some Quran verses that I'm gonna, and I'll have them in the description below, inshallah. So the basic thing to understand is that we always want to maintain the law of harmony and balance. This is in the Quran, to always maintain the law of harmony and balance. So everything in creation is always seeking harmony and always seeking balance. So we should always maintain that. So when we're dealing with unjust people, we need to also remind ourselves that we need to maintain the law of harmony and the law of balance, but also deal with them in a firm way. Don't not deal, because a lot hates if you're all lovey-dovey with the disbelievers and kissing their butts, etc. A law that's very distasteful to God. There's Quran verses that discuss about that. I don't have them on hand with me at the moment. But to also be firm. Allah says to be firm with the disbelievers. So that's also in the Quran. I don't have that on hand, but I will put that in a video in the future, inshallah. So we need to establish that we're all subject to these divine laws, as Allah says in chapter 6, verse 38. There is no terrestrial creature that crawls in the earth, nor a bird that flies with its two wings, but they are creatures like you, all subject to the divine laws. We have neglected nothing in this perfect book of law, then to their Lord shall they all be gathered. So we are all subject to these divine laws. Now, if you go into a court, the first thing they're going to say, oh, we separate church and state. So right then and there, when that spills out of their mouth, that the separation of church and state, they're already saying, they're already testifying that they are unjust and disobedient to the Creator of the universe. They are saying that. Allah says in chapter 5, verse 45, and whomsoever does not judge according to the law which Allah has revealed, it is they who are the very unjust. So when the judge says we separate church and state, what they are saying is we are disobedient and we are unjust. So you can mention that Quran verse to them. We all have the right to travel to seek our spiritual and material advancement, as Allah says in chapter 67, verse 15. This is a commandment of God. Allah says, it is He who has made the earth smooth and subservient to you for your benefit. So traverse far and deep into its spacious paths for your spiritual and material advancement. Thus by active labor, eat of His sustenance and enjoy His gifts. To Him shall you all return after having been raised to life. So Allah is saying to traverse far and deep into His spacious paths for your spiritual and material advancement. So we are commanded by God to advance our civilizations spiritually and materially. Okay, without restriction. The only restrictions we have on travel is that, if we're causing harm to other people, and this is going to spill into other laws that Allah has. If you're trespassing on people's private property, for example, but if you're in the common areas, traveling in harmony and balance with the surrounding vehicles, the people who are traveling with you, you're all in harmony. You're not causing harm to people. You don't need a piece of plastic. You don't need a piece of metal. You don't need insurance. Allah commands us to take Him as a shield alone, to take Allah as our protector. Allah is the best protector. There's no one who can protect you better than God. No seatbelt, no police, no government. Nobody can protect you besides the Creator of the universe. Now, Allah can send angels to help, can send people to help. God can send parts of His creation to help you, but it's ultimately coming from the Creator of the universe, as Allah has full power to do all desired things. So to have some verses to help support that, we go to chapter 24, verse 52. And those who obey Allah and His messenger and hold Allah in awe and take Him as a shield for protection, it is they who shall be triumphant. So those who take Allah as their shield shall be triumphant. Allah says in chapter 74, verse 56, but these deniers will not remember it unless Allah so will. He alone is most worthy of be taken as a shield, and He alone is most worthy of granting protection. So Allah is the most worthy alone of granting protection. So out goes insurance, you want to live true to God, you got to throw away the insurance. You got to throw away all these stickers and license plates out the window. This is all haram. This is all, if they're making what Allah makes lawful unlawful, which is a huge and major sin, and this can cause you to go into hellfire. If you're going to take the legislators as your God, I've been into court a few times now, and the first time I went to court, the lawyers were actually going to the judge saying, "Your worship, your worship." Every time they would address the judge, they would go, "Your worship," and the judge was just eating it up, and I was just like, what a joke this court system is. My first impression of the court system is what a joke. Well, it wasn't the first time, but recently in the last a year or so, when I went in, and I've heard other people say the same thing, that the lawyers address the judge, not all judges, but particular judges, as your worship, which it was completely repulsive to me. And I just thought, what a joke this is, or whatever. So these are the type of people. They're very unjust people. They see themselves as gods, or they take the legislature as gods. They're very disobedient. And they're violating our free will. If we're not causing harm, we're living within the, we're living in harmony and balance. There's no reason why our free will should be violated. If you want insurance, go ahead, have it, but you can't force that on anybody else. That's haram. Allah says in chapter 6, verse 107, if Allah had enforced His will, you would not have associated partners with Him, and we have not made you a guardian over them, nor a disposer of their affairs. Allah says in chapter 6, verse 149, say with Allah as a conclusive argument, had He enforced His will, He would have surely guided you all. So clearly we all have free will to choose, and forcing people to do things against their will is haram. Unless they did something unjustly that needs a rightful punishment, to go ahead with that, to improve the person's, to help reform that person through a punishment, that is proper. But to force people unjustly that haven't done nothing wrong is very unjust. To fine people for a piece of plastic that was covering the license plate, even to have a license plate, to fine people that don't register a license plate, or have a proper driver's license, or a sticker, or insurance. This is all nonsense. This is all to monopolize the insurance. Here where I live, it's in Canada, they charge up to $10,000 if you travel without insurance here. It's just absolutely atrocious. So they monopolize the insurance, the car insurance here, forcing people by extortion, coercion, and duress, and imprisonment if you don't obey their atrocious dogmatic beliefs, known as legislation, their low desires. It's just, I don't understand how anybody can say they don't want Imam Mahdi to come. It's just completely off the wall to me. How anybody who studies Islam, considers himself a scholar or is a religious leader, to say that they don't want to live in the time of Imam Mahdi because it might be a little bit too tough for them. Man, look at what a selfish thing to say. What an absolutely selfish thing to say. I can't believe people would say that. And you can just, if you listen to enough Imam Mahdi videos, you'll come across people who say that they don't want to live in the time of Imam Mahdi. It's just pretty sad. So make sure when you deal with these unjust people, and with any people, always maintain the law of harmony and balance. Stay firm against the disbelievers, and help the believers. Be kind to the believers. We stay firm against the disbelievers to help them get onto the correct path if they so choose. Allah gives us all free will, of course, as I've stated in previous verses of the Quran. Absolutely nonsense. And they might come with people might think, oh, there's no such thing as cause and effect, as I've heard some Islamic speakers now say too that, oh, there's no cause and effect. God is the only creator. You know what I mean? Like, have you not read the Quran? It's like one of the tenets of the Quran is cause and effect. I mean, just look at chapter 95, verse 5. Then, according to our law of cause and consequence, we degrade him to the lowest of the low if he does evil deeds. Like, what's the point of the day of judgment without cause and effect? I mean, isn't it your deeds that are going to cause you to go into hellfire or cause you to go into paradise? Like, this is the base foundation of the Quran. And I hear some, I don't want to mention any names, but I hear some, so there's no such thing as cause and effect, and they're making all these like ridiculous things, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, have you not read the Quran? You call yourself an Islamic speaker, huh? It's just a lot of nonsense going on. I've been reciting these Quran verses because I've got some court dates coming up in September. I'll be going to court again for this one here. I enjoy going to court and laying. They don't even want me in there. They're trying to postpone my court dates. They don't really want to deal with me, and I hope. I know there's some righteous believers out there in this world, because if there wasn't, Allah would have flooded this place a long time ago. So I know there's righteous believers out there listening to this video, and we gotta speak the truth. If you got a ticket, you got ticketed unjustly. Like, if you're drinking and driving, that's haram. If you're putting people's lives in danger while you're driving, well, you probably deserve a ticket. But if you're not causing any harm, like a sticker, fine, insurance fine, driver's license fine, I mean, those do no harm to no one ever. If you have a piece of plastic in your wallet, or if you're a competent driver, you don't need a piece of plastic to travel. Like, it's just, you don't need insurance to travel. Take Allah as your shield. I drive without my seatbelt. Every day I put my life in Allah's hands when I drive. Allah, I trust you. I take you as my protector and shield. I trust you. I don't even wear my seatbelt when I drive. I've been doing that for I don't know how many, at least a decade now. I've been driving without my seatbelt because I trust God. I trust God. God is the one who protects me. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. We really need to amplify our light. The darkness was trying to come in to smother the light, but the light is feeling strong again. After my 5 daily prayers, and I'm implementing extra prayers, but with my 5 daily prayers, I'm reciting these Quran verses that I mentioned to you after my prayer. So I do my prayer, I kind of meditate a little bit, I make my dua, and then I recite these Quran verses. And I tell you, it's making the shaitans really upset, the shaitans. I've been really repeating these verses after every prayer, and it's driving the shaitans crazy. So if you can learn, I'm going to put these verses in the description below. Recite them after your prayers if you would like to. It's your choice. It's free will here. There's no obligation in religion. But it's driving the shaitans crazy. And I'm here to help bring the Khalifa, to help bring Imam Mahdi, to help establish the obedience of Allah on this earth. If Imam Mahdi comes in my time or not, I still want to establish these videos. I'm still in the process of making a book of law that is really like something that's new, something that's like, for our time, for looking at it with new eyes. So it's basically going to organize all the divine laws and commandments in this book in a well-organized way. So if you want to look up free will, if you want to look up cause and effect, if you want to look up laws and commandments of marriage, if you want to look up trade commandments for trading, if you want to look for war, if you want to look for laws and commandments of a whole slew of different categories. This is the type of book that I'm putting together. It's taking some time. It's a lot of, I still got my daily life stuff to do too. So I got to do this part-time, unfortunately. But slowly but steady, this book will be put together and will help establish the Khalifa on this earth and establish the obedience of Allah on this earth, inshallah. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. Take Allah as your shield and protector alone. May Allah protect all the believers. May Allah increase us in light and knowledge and blessings, inshallah. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Peace.